Grade 10 poem, The Ball Poem. The Ball poem is penned by John Berryman. John Berryman has beautifully described a boy who has lost his ball. He gave a lesson that is full of wisdom through the loss of ball. The poet is trying to convey how unbearable the pain associated with loss is. The poet assumes a boy who is playing with a ball and he shares how the boy underwent pain and how it was important for him to learn to overcome loss or something he loved the most in his life. Read the poem and try to understand what the poet is trying to convey through the given. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? Is he to do? I saw it go, merrily bouncing down the street, merrily over there, it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. The poet is observing the boy who is playing with the ball, who is playing with the ball, and he has lost his ball. The poet observes the ball merrily bouncing down the street, and then it was into the water. The poet wanted to say that, oh, there are other balls as well, and the ball that the boy has lost, new one. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down. All his young days into the harbor where his ball went, I would not intrude. The poet who is observing that the boy king due to grief, he is trembling and staring down at the bowl, but he could not go near the water, but standing at the harbor, he is feeling pain due to the loss of the ball. The poet wants to condole the boy, but he thought to himself that it was better not to intrude on him. A dime, another ball, is worthless. Now he sends his first responsibility. In a world of possessions, people will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy. This is what the poet wanted to explain it to the boy, who was standing disappointed near the harbor. A dime is what it would cost for a new ball, but it was not known to the boy who had lost the ball. He did not want the new ball, the poet thought to himself. He wanted his old ball to come back. He wanted the boy to fetch the ball for himself. But then the poet knew that it was impossible, and there was no sense that he can spend a dime and get a new one for himself. Because in the world of possessions, people keep on buying things. They spend money, a lot of money, to buy the stuff they like the most or they want to own, which they think is precious. But the things that they love the most, and if it lost, they cannot replace the same. And this is what the poet wanted the boy to learn through this experience. And no one buys a ball back. Money is external, the poet states in the poetry, and this line has a very deep meaning. Money is external. You can spend a lot of money, but you cannot gain something that you love the most in your life if it is lost. So here the poet feels that the boy is learning. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. The epistemology of loss, how to knowing what every man must one day know. He wants the boy to learn the lesson of life. He wants the boy to learn how important it is for him to treasure the things he loves the most in his life. But he doesn't want to intervene. He doesn't want to intrude. But the boy was quite young to understand this. He stood there staring at the ball. ball. As the time passed, the poet thought to himself that the boy would learn the lesson of life one day, and when he will grow up, he will realize that things or people lost once are lost forever. The loss of the ball stands for the general loss of a human or human beings. The losses may be the loss of personal possession or the death or some near and dear one or due to the separation from the beloved ones. As long as there is life, everyone has to bear many types of losses. Therefore, we need to learn the way for bearing those losses. This poem is about losing something which we love and then learn to grow up. If you read the poetry further, you know that the poet wants the boy to learn to stand strong. And most know many days how to stand up, and gradually light returns to the street. A whistle blows, the ball is out of sight. Soon part of me will explore of the harbor. I am everywhere. I suffer and move, my mind and my heart move. With all that move me under the water or whistling, I am not a little boy. So, in these lines, we learn that the poet who wants the boy to understand that he has to be strong enough to bear the separation from the things or the people he loved the most in life. Therefore, he should be ready to bear the loss. The poet also states that all the material life cannot make the man happy. Maybe for the boy, the loss of a ball is a mere consequence or a minor loss, but the reaction for the loss was something that was unbearable for the boy. He could not stand the loss of the ball at that moment of time. But to a little boy, it was not possible to understand that money was external, and everything that is immortal in the life can also give pain and suffering. People may buy things by spending a lot of money, but they cannot gain pleasure from everything that the poet has made the use of the imagery while telling how the ball personifies the spirit of the boy's childish innocence. We may visualize how the spirit of this little boy, like the ball, is sinking into the dark waters of the harbor, and as it drifts further away, the little boy will learn to grow up. And that part is linked to that ball that has rolled down into the waters, and with time, when the boy will grow up, he will realize that everything is momentary. Thus, we can interpret this poem literally and metaphorically both. Literally, it shares